Hi everyone, welcome to this new pre-recorded session of the DSA Global Summit. My name is Marta Suarez. I am the president of the Dynamic Spectrum Alliance, and it's my pleasure today to have with you and to have as invited speaker, Fatima Kotari. Fatima is from Microsoft. She's a senior program manager of the Airband Initiative, and she's going to tell us about the last updates of this great initiative. So Fatima, thank you for being here. Please, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Marta. Hi, everyone. My name is Fatima, and I lead program management and operations for Microsoft's Airband Initiative. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Airband Initiative today. I'm excited to share a little bit about our approach, our projects, and hopefully provide some food for thought for accelerating work to bridge the digital equity gap. So Microsoft was founded on this idea that democratizing access to technology enables more people to reach their full potential. In July 2017, Microsoft launched the Microsoft Airband Initiative, both as a call to action and also a programmatic effort to help close the broadband access gap, which furthers our company's core mission to empower communities to achieve more. So for many, high-speed internet access is as ubiquitous as electricity and running water, but unfortunately millions lack access to this critical service and the opportunities provided through broadband connectivity. In fact, half of the people in the world lack access to internet connectivity, which is defined differently across the world, and the implications of this reality are laid bare by COVID-19 and its global impact, as people are forced to work, to shelter in while working, learning, and seeking medical care. So in the US, our baseline standard at the moment for broadband access for connectivity is speeds of 25 megabits per second down and 3 megabits per second up. And in the US, when we look at the broadband coverage data issued by the FCC, we know that at least 14.5 million people, over 11 million of which reside in rural areas, lack access to broadband. There's strong evidence that the percentage of Americans without broadband access is actually much higher than the figures reported by the FCC. And the FCC is actively engaged in fine-tuning the data set as part of its prioritization around closing the digital divide, particularly in your rural areas. We also know that historically marginalized communities, including but not limited to racial and ethnic minorities, people with disabilities, and people experiencing income insecurity, are disproportionately impacted by the pandemic and lack of in-home broadband. So we firmly believe that actions will be required from both the public as well as the private sector if we're to actually achieve universal access. And Microsoft established the Airband Initiative to accelerate these efforts globally. We made specific commitments as part of our work to connect the unconnected. Within the US, we've committed to work with our partners to extend access to 3 million people who do not have broadband access in rural areas by July 2022. To our international partnerships, we've committed to extend internet connectivity to at least 40 million unserved people by July 2022. And we continue to build out this initiative. So last summer, as part of our company-wide commitment to address racial injustice, we extended the reach of the Airband programs to targeted urban cities in the US, with a goal to launch pilot projects driving adoption of affordable broadband, devices, and digital skills for communities of color and the key institutions that support them in 8 major urban cities in the US. All of these efforts are undergirded by policy and advocacy efforts designed to address the global digital divide. So this is not an initiative we do on our own by any means, and Microsoft as a company is definitely not becoming a direct connectivity provider. We do this by working with a network of people all working on the same goal, connecting people and bringing with that connectivity the opportunity for a better life. So the Airband model is entirely partnership driven. It represents a holistic approach to the challenges of the digital divide by also emphasizing the unique strengths that Microsoft as a global provider of platform and productivity solutions can bring to the table. So our partnerships typically involve a couple of different elements that you'll see on this slide around connect, transform, scale, and policy. So in terms of Connect, we work very closely with network operators as partners to accelerate broadband access and adoption amongst unserved and underserved communities. This work to drive broadband adoption is especially crucial in our urban portfolio that I mentioned previously, where many people have access to some form of broadband service but still lack in-home broadband. As part of transforming, we partner with Microsoft organizations, commercial entities, public sector organizations, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, as well as intergovernmental organizations to layer digitally transformative solutions on top of these broadband networks. These are mainly for the purpose of improving productivity, livelihood, driving sustainable development in these communities that we operate in. We really believe in this power of reliable, high-speed internet to transform communities and lives, especially in areas of healthcare, in agriculture, in education, in economic development. These solutions are critical for going the next level. Now, moving on to scale, we partner with private entities, philanthropic organizations, government, and IGOs again, to facilitate access to financing for our Airband partners to scale our partnerships and projects. And lastly, a lot of our work is undergirded by policy efforts, and in doing so, we're hoping to promote a more inclusive world where everyone has the opportunity to participate in the digital economy. So, as we've seen, the economic and social ramifications of the COVID-19 crisis have significantly impacted those who do not have reliable access to high-speed internet. It's never been clearer that access to broadband connectivity is a prerequisite for full participation in modern life. During the pandemic, we focused our efforts to augment our existing programming and policy efforts with a view to keeping people connected and leaning into opportunities to provide connectivity in areas already lacking internet access. So we took a two-pronged approach programmatically as well as along a policy focus. Programmatically, we've mobilized our partners to maintain connectivity to customers economically impacted by the crisis. And we also stood up a rapid technology grant program to support the deployment of hundreds of public Wi-Fi hotspots. As typical with our standard approach, we've also developed a policy response that includes recommendations to federal, state, and local governments to move quickly to stand up and release funding and remove roadblocks that have traditionally hampered broadband infrastructure efforts. So the Airband Initiative enables access to broadband as a foundation for people and communities to realize their potential and ultimately deliver key benefits achieved through broadband and technology. You've heard me mention that there are a few areas of digital transformation that are key to our areas of focus. That's healthcare, agriculture, education, and small business enablement or rural entrepreneurship. The way we see it, all of these solutions can help enable telehealth services or help expand revenue and reduce costs in agriculture. You're able to take an online class, you're able to start small businesses, reach more customers, and these digital transformation efforts will really help level the playing field for billions of people. So to understand how this approach actually translates into actual projects and actual work, I want to highlight two recent Airband partnerships that really bring together this framework that I've discussed today. First is a recent partnership announcement to accelerate digital transformation in Nigeria. So earlier this month, we announced a collaboration with the Nigerian government to build a strong foundation for a digital economy across three key pillars, which is connectivity, skilling, and digital transformation. There's a lot of research that talks about the lack of internet penetration in Nigeria, and much needs to be done to actually empower all citizens to take advantage of the opportunities of a digital economy. So as part of this project, the Airband team will work closely with local partners on ground to improve broadband connectivity in 6 regions in the country, and also assist with the design and implementation of hyperscale cloud services. Next, moving on, I wanted to also focus on the US a little bit, where we have a presence. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our partnership with Land O'Lakes, which is an agricultural cooperative with over 3,000 members in the US. So as a founding member of the American Connection Project Coalition with Land O'Lakes, we are working on connecting Land O'Lakes facilities with Airband internet service provider partners to increase broadband speeds at these agriculture facilities, while also providing broadband to the surrounding communities. So to date, we've launched 2 pilot projects in partnerships with our partner Watch Communications, as well as cooperative members. And these pilot projects use fixed wireless broadband technology at speeds of up to 100 megabits per second, really demonstrating the power of fixed wireless to bridge the rural connectivity gap. In addition, we're also working to incorporate IoT, or Internet of Things, as part of these deployments to enable digital transformation opportunities through the provision of IoT services like precision agriculture or propane tank monitoring. And there's a lot more that can come out of this partnership that is pretty unique in the sense that we're not really partnering with someone in the telecom ecosystem, but someone in the agriculture ecosystem as the primary stakeholder. So as we've been working on this initiative over the last couple of years, and as we look forward to drive further progress in the US and beyond in most of the international markets where we have a presence, we're focused on one key question: how do we drive systemic change and long-term solutions to address digital inequity? So I guess the first question is, what is digital equity? When we think about digital equity, we think about it as requiring access to affordable, robust broadband or high-speed internet, broadband-enabled devices that meet the needs of the user, and third is the access to digital skilling piece, which is the third pillar of digital equity. Digital equity is really necessary for wholesome civic and cultural participation, employment, and access to a lot of essential services. So earlier this year, we developed what we called our principles of digital equity. These are developed from a US point of view, but we do see these being relevant to a lot of other markets and countries as well. Within the US, we support and advocate for broadband-related regulations and funding that are consistent with the principles that you see on the slide that make an impact across the different pillars of digital equity. And we really believe that following this holistic approach will actually help accelerate bridging the digital inequity gap that we see at the moment. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you for your time today. And to learn more about our work, please do visit our website, which is microsoft.com/airband. And thank you, and I hope you enjoy attending the rest of the DSA Summit sessions.